details.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Do you enjoy researching sofas before you buy?
No.
Do you compare product ratings?
No way.
Are you interested in knowing everything about your new sofa?
Absolutely not. I just want the best sofa, period.
Sounds like you want the SB261 sofa from Penny Mustard.
If it's the best sofa, then yes, that's the one.
It's our #1 bestseller.
Fine.
The SB261 sofa has a classic, exquisite look.
Great.
I've never heard anybody say a negative word about it.
I'm sold.
If the SB261 sofa was in high school, it would be voted homecoming queen and king.
I'm ready to buy.
5 stars, A+, and everyone's thumbs are up.
Stop talking and take my money.
The SB261 sofa, American-made with solid wood frame, individual seat springs, unsmooshable Qualex Ultra Foam, and thousands of fabric and leather options, starting at $29.30 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
The best versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
This wasn't how Patrick here in Milwaukee pictured himself in retirement. Instead of playing golf every day, he could barely walk because of severe knee pain.
It hampered everything because it hurt to walk around the golf course. It hurt to swing, just pretty much hurt doing anything.
But the groundbreaking regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics changed everything for Patrick. QC Kinetics uses your body's own healing properties to help repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, hips, back, and shoulders. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime.
The turnaround's been amazing from where I was to where I am now. I've gone from a 15 handicap down to a 7 handicap. That's because my knees allow me to play golf like I haven't been able to play probably in 15 years.
Don't let joint pain keep you from doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
You can't beat Berghardt.
Sports lovers love us.
American Family Field turns into a jungle as the Brewers take on the Tigers.
Jackson Churio, a high drive, deep left center, way gone! Churio.
Our coverage starts tonight at 6:05 on your home for the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 101, it's 47 degrees on our way up to 50. Sun likely to peak out a little today, and breezy conditions. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Greg Matzik. A newly filed lawsuit aims to block the development of a proposed Buc-ee's Travel Center off I-94 in Oak Creek. TMJ4's Miriam McCarr.
The lawsuit alleges that the rezoning and amendment were done solely for the benefit of the developer, arguing the neighboring community will be burdened by light pollution, crime, and traffic increase. I'm on the phone with Sarah Shreve, who lives less than a mile from where that Buc-ee's would be. She's also part of Oak Creek Neighbors United, the nonprofit that filed the lawsuit.
Our neighborhood recognizes there's going to be some sort of development in that area, but not a circus.
The city has just under 45 days to respond to the lawsuit.
Meanwhile, China may be raising the stakes in a brewing trade war with the United States. CBS's Jason Brooks with the details.
The Chinese government, according to Bloomberg, is instructing the country's domestic airlines to stop taking deliveries of new aircraft ordered from Boeing in response to 145% tariffs on Chinese imports. China's top 3 airlines, Air China, China Eastern Airlines, and China Southern Airlines, are scheduled to accept a combined 179 planes from Boeing between this year and 2027. The report says Beijing is also ordering carriers to suspend purchases of aircraft components and related equipment from U.S. suppliers.
Boeing resumed 737 MAX deliveries to China last year following a long pause due to regulatory issues. President Trump says he's considering a temporary exemption on tariffs for the auto industry. That would give car makers time to adjust their supply chains. The president says automakers need a little bit of time to relocate production to the United States, suggesting yet another round of tariff reversals. Meanwhile, the administration has taken its next steps toward imposing more tariffs on key imports still planned on pharmaceutical drugs, lumber, copper, and computer chips. And bringing a Packers game tradition to the NFL draft.
A little sober oasis in the sea of beer and booze.
John Plagman founded Section Yellow, a sober place for Packers fans at Lambeau Field.
At the upcoming draft, he's setting up an entire tent.
We'll have a TV in there. We got some yard games. We're going to bring cribbage. We're going to bring our Wisconsin games there.
And every day at 4 p.m., a gratitude meeting.
You really get to see how people can just share from their words and their emotions of what's going on with them.
Plagman hopes this can be a template for future drafts. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green for the bulk of the morning. Now shifted to the red this afternoon. The Dow currently down about 85 points at 40,439. NASDAQ off about 40 this afternoon at 16,793. S&P 500 off 10 at 53.95. Annex Wealth Management. Visit annexwealth.com and know the difference. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:04.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Hey, Easter's almost here. The family-owned Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford is the most affordable Easter dining destination. WTMJ's John Mercure. Easter's a special family holiday, so don't cook and clean. Enjoy your family and enjoy the Mind Chef's incredible all-you-can-eat Easter Sunday brunch. I've been to the Easter Sunday brunch. It's everything you love for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, including desserts. All you can eat for under $25. Add a glass of wine, an old-fashioned, a Bloody Mary, an ice-cold beer. Ooh, a perfect brunch. Kids and grandkids 3 and under eat free, and then they can safely play in that world-class game room quietly tucked away from the dining area while you enjoy the rest of your meal. Call and reserve your Easter Sunday brunch family table today, serving from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The country fried chicken and half rack of rib dinners are both just $9.99, and you won't spend a lot of money at the Mine Shaft on anything. It's in beautiful downtown Hartford. Lots of seating, lots of close parking. MineShaftRestaurant.com. Big food, big fun. It's the Mine Shaft.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. The Brewers look to snap a 3-game losing streak tonight. Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Tigers. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. It's a practice day for the Bucks in advance of Saturday's playoff matchup against the Pacers in Indianapolis. And an update on the condition of Bucks guard Damian Lillard, who continues to increase his on-court activity, has still not been cleared for game action. Games 3 and 4 of that best-of-7 series will be played in Milwaukee. The NBA's play-in tournament schedule begins tonight with 2 games. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. Problem area here, 43 southbound at Good Hope. The right shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. And volume started to pick up a little bit in that area. In fact, it's about a 4-minute delay if you're working your way from Brown Deer south on 43 to downtown. So a little extra time to get through that area along with the normal construction going on. Otherwise, pretty standard travel times across the system and mild volume this afternoon.
Sponsored by Wisconsin State Fair. Big groups save big at Wisconsin State Fair. Deals end April 27th. Big groups save big at Wisconsin State Fair. Take advantage of discounted group tickets for parties of 25 or more at wistatefair.com. Hurry, deals end April 27th.
Mostly cloudy and breezy today, a high of 50 degrees. Clear skies tonight, a low of 26. Wednesday's high 55 inland under mostly sunny skies. Keep an eye out on Thursday and Friday. Temperatures could be on the rise, and that could bring about some activity. Some storms possibly late on Thursday with a high of 64. Friday, some of those storms could be strong with a high of 70. Saturday, we cool back off, partly cloudy and a high of 50 degrees. Right now in Madison, it's 48. Green Bay, 47 and partly sunny. Cloudy in Waukesha at 46 degrees. It's 47 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:08.
65,498 square miles. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. This is Spanning the State. Here's your host, Kristin Brey.
Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy tax day. Rhea, did you get your taxes in?
At 10 o'clock last night.
Woo! Just made it.
Barely.
Yeah. One of the good things about being married and now filing jointly is I have given that task to Mike. It's like, here's my stuff. You figure it out. And so I am not sweating like I used to as far as going through TurboTax, clicking all the buttons and being like, do I need to upgrade? They're telling me that I need to pay $200 to make sure I don't get audited. But apparently, with so many people getting fired from the IRS, no one's getting audited. So you should be safe.
Oh, fingers crossed.
All right. Well, indeed, if you have not been listening, I guess, yesterday or today at all, just a reminder that today is indeed the last show of Spanning the State. I will be joining Steve Scafidi starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. every day. Well, not every day, Monday through Friday, 10 to 12 for a new show called Point Taken, and mostly politics, international, national, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Madison. We'll probably dabble in some other categories and topics because we have a lot of interest, but a lot of politics. And so I am very excited for that. I think it's probably no surprise to anyone who listens to the show that I am, while I do have a lot of interest, certainly love talking about politics, but also feel like most things come back to politics. I'm kind of from that mindset that, as we're seeing now, so many things that we kind of just assume or take for granted actually tie back to the federal government and what it funds and who works with it, and just things that you think are going to be part of your daily life that you forget are actually political. And so I am very much looking forward to that. Not that I am not sad to see this show come to an end. I know I talked a little bit briefly yesterday about my good friend Brian and my gratitude towards him for the last year of getting to do this show together. Obviously very thankful for Rhea and getting to build this show with her. But sometimes this is just how it works, as far as looking at the lineup for what WTMJ is, what it's trying to do, and making some evolving. And so I am grateful to still be here. I'm grateful to be able to do the show with Steve tomorrow. I am hoping that people who like this show trust that we will infuse some of the good things about this show into Point Taken, and will follow us either live 10 to 12 or subscribe to the podcast, because I am very much looking forward to that. But we move on, and we have one more show to do. So I thought the last 2 weeks, as we've known these changes were coming, I've been trying to book guests that may not have a place on the next show. And so our first topic is exactly that. While it is political, so I could make the argument to Steve that we should have Maddie Heim join us on the next show, I certainly wanted to get her in on this show. So Maddie Heim is a Report for America Corps member and who covers Wisconsin environmental challenges with a specific focus on the Mississippi River watershed. So she's yesterday published a series on wetlands. What are wetlands? I love that she made a video and she goes, wetlands, are where water and land blend together. And I was like, yeah, well, that is right in the name. And so why is she talking about wetlands? What should we be concerned about? Who wants to drain them? Who wants to protect them? Because it's land that's vital for people and animals and the health of our states. So we're going to learn more about that, what the legal and political ramifications are right now, both at the federal level and the state level, and the economic argument for why we should protect them. So we are going to get to that after this on the last episode of Spanning the State.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Hey, Debbie. Southbound 794. There was just an accident. Right now, it looks like at least one lane is closed.
Call me, Debbie Lazaga, on the WTMJ traffic tip line, 414-238-9329.
Highway 45 southbound. A tire came off of a car.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it?
Northbound 41 at Burleigh. 3 vehicle accidents just happened in front of me.
Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
I'm here to help. This is your WTMJ Fix-It Show host, David Nason, with expert advice for our listeners. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, or cracks in your basement, it's time to call my trusted friends at Accurate Basement Repair. And you know what? You'll get a free expert evaluation on me. You just tell them David Nason, the Fix-It guy, told me to call. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. And again, that's Accurate Basement Repair, 414-744-6900 or AccurateBasementRepair.com.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you use.
And stick to the wetlands. They should have added that. TLC really missed one body of water that they could have added to this very 90s song, Rhea. But yes, welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey, and welcome to the last show of Spanning the State, but we are going to make the most out of it before I premiere with Steve tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the new show, Point Taken. But yes, we're talking about wetlands and exactly what they are, what they sound like. They're where the water meets the land. And so Madeline Heim, who is a Report for America Corps member and covers Wisconsin's environmental challenges with a specific focus on the Mississippi River, yesterday published a series on wetlands in Wisconsin. Both she did a video, she did kind of laid out some of the legal issues that are happening right now. So I wanted to have her come on and kind of explain, because it seems like, Madeline, that this is, we don't necessarily think of the wetlands very much, but maybe you do, but most of us do not, correct?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. I think that, wetlands are kind of this like quiet powerhouse. They're not as flashy as, Lake Michigan or the bluffs of the Driftless area, but they are really important landscapes. So I myself have learned a bunch more about what they do as I've been reporting on this project.
So I guess explain a little bit more about that. What role do they play in our ecosystem and like the value that they provide?
So they have kind of a wide variety of different benefits. The one that I think people see most often is wildlife habitat. I saw someone refer to it as they're kind of this biological supermarket, if you will, for migrating birds. Like they've just got everything that they might possibly need while they're on their journey. They also improve water quality because they kind of hold on to sediment and pollutants that might otherwise go further downstream. They store carbon, and then one of the most important things they do is during flood events, they can kind of hold on to floodwaters. They're like nature's sponges, essentially. So they can hold on to those floodwaters so that they don't go cascading downstream. And then during droughts, they can release that water slowly back into the water table. So both of those things are going to grow more important as we face more extreme weather.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because I feel like that, well, the Midwest and Wisconsin, I think, is less likely to have some of the severe weather when we see fires and hurricanes. But certainly flooding and droughts feel like the number one thing that we are seeing happening more and more here. And so that seems like an important thing. But so Wisconsin has 6 famous wetlands. Where are they kind of dispersed throughout the state?
Yeah, so Wisconsin has almost 6 million acres of wetlands all across the state. But as you said, we've got these 6 world-renowned ones, and they are chosen by an international organization called the Ramsar Convention that looks at wetlands that really protect rare habitats, rare animals, et cetera. So the one that people might be most familiar with is Horicon Marsh in Dodge County. Then we've got the Kakagan Sloughs, which are up by Lake Superior, Chewauquee Prairie, which is down in the far southeast corner of the state, the Door Peninsula wetlands up in Door County, the lower Wisconsin Riverway, and then the upper Mississippi River floodplain wetlands all along the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota and Iowa. So they're really pretty nicely spread out all across the state if you're wanting to find an internationally famous one.
There you go. All right, so we kind of understanding why they're valuable. What is the motivation to drain them, or to, who's behind it? Is it farmers? Is it business people? Or who's kind of arguing that we should be able to use this land for other purposes?
Yeah, so this is something that I found really interesting while I was doing this reporting is, in the past, especially during the colonial days, people really viewed wetlands as just an obstacle that they had to get through to farm and to develop cities and towns. So wetlands developed this really bad rap. They were dirty, they were disease-ridden. There's even some lore of like monsters and ghosts, if you think of like Creature from the Black Lagoon, etc. So they had this bad rap, and they are still disappearing today. The Mississippi River Basin, for example, has lost the equivalent of 100,000 football fields of wetlands between 2009 and 2019. So even though we know more about them, it's kind of the same reasons. When you talk to home builders associations, they'll say, look, we have a housing shortage. We need to be able to build in these places. And farmers are saying we need to be able to grow more crops. And then, in addition to, being purposely drained, there's also things that are out of our control, not in Wisconsin, obviously, but down in coastal Louisiana, you've got sea level rise and land loss that is destroying a lot of their coastal wetlands.
All right. So then why are you writing about this now? What's going on as far as the political or legal atmosphere that you felt like this was a compelling thing to report on currently?
Yeah, so this series is part of my work, in addition to working at the Journal-Sentinel on the Mississippi River Basin Ag and Water Desk, which is a network of journalists that report all up and down the river. And we meet every week, and we were noticing that we were all covering the implication of this 2023 Supreme Court ruling called the Sackett decision, which essentially narrowed the definition of which wetlands can be protected by the federal government. And at the same time, we know that the river is flooding more often and more intensely, which, environmental advocates say more wetlands on the landscape could help with. So we're kind of watching these scaled back federal protections at the same time that advocates are saying, we actually need more of these wetlands on the landscape. And so we wanted to tackle kind of looking at the whole river from, Minnesota and Wisconsin down to the Gulf about kind of what the status of wetlands is.
So you said Sackett changes the definition of what can be protected federally. So now it's up to the states to decide how they want to protect the wetlands that are in each state?
Right. Yeah. So what's interesting, Sackett came down during the Biden administration, which some people, criticized for being a little bit wishy-washy with implementing it. But the Trump administration and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin have really made no secret that they are going to take that narrow view, which will erase some federal protections for wetlands. So like you said, that means it's up to states on how much to regulate development of wetlands, if at all. Wisconsin has fairly strong protections compared to other states, but some states don't have any state rules at all. For example, Iowa and Missouri don't. So, depending on what we see forthcoming from the Trump administration, EPA, it'll be much easier to develop wetlands there, and we'll be looking at kind of a patchwork system of regulations that will differ all across the country.
So if we're talking about up and down the Mississippi River, even if there are strong protections in Wisconsin, would there be ramifications that could go like literally upstream or upriver to us if Missouri or Iowa were to really hinder the wetlands in their states?
Yeah, not so much like impacts that would travel upstream. Certainly we will see that with downstream states. But one thing I have heard about the Sackett implications is that, even though Wisconsin has these stronger federal rules, it will still mean that some wetlands that were federally protected in Wisconsin will lose those protections. And that means the state will have to put in extra work to kind of keep on top of those. And so there have been some concerns, although I don't think we've really seen enough of it come to light yet that I can say a ton about it. But I think that, having more work to do in absence of the federal government might be something that we start to see here in Wisconsin.
And would that have to go through the legislature, or is it something that the DNR could do on its own?
So the rules that we have are written into law, and we passed them fairly early on. Like I said, we've got stronger ones. But yeah, it's kind of yet to be seen about what these implications might be. It's kind of a case-by-case basis as developers would come forward and say, we want to build in this wetland.
Got it.
What might happen.
So then another piece you wrote in conjunction with this series is the economic benefits. We've kind of already talked about what it does as far as for flooding and for wildlife. But as far as the bottom line, which is what a lot of people care about, what are the economic benefits to saving wetlands?
Yeah, so that was a really interesting, another piece of the reporting was, as we're seeing this appetite for federal regulation of wetlands going away, people are thinking about how to spur more interest in saving them in other ways. And I think the clearest way that a lot of people are identifying is their financial benefits that come from their ability to mitigate floods. So there is a grant program that is relatively new in Wisconsin. It just celebrated its first year and put out its first round of money, but essentially giving communities money to learn more about where wetlands could help with flooding on the landscape and then do some restoration. And that's based on a pilot project in Ashland County. Ashland County had really severe flooding several years ago, and their road infrastructure just kept crumbling, like over and over again. They would have bridges wash out, they would have culverts break. And, eventually they said, is there a better way to control this water instead of just having to repair these roads over and over again? And it's super expensive to do so. So they're taking a look at restoring wetlands higher up in the system to hold onto that water. So hopefully it doesn't kind of gush so much toward the roads when it floods. And so that's the pilot project. And it looks like it will be spread out to some other Wisconsin communities. And I know from talking to sources, it's being shopped around in other states as well, because I think it's of interest that it's it's a grant program. So outside of that regulatory landscape, but also, a way to solve problems that everyone's thinking about, which is, we all need to use our roads. We all need to use bridges. How can wetlands help with that?
What was the name of the grant program again?
It's got a name that doesn't really roll off the tongue. It's called the Wisconsin Pre-Disaster Flood Resilience Grant Program.
All right. Well, at least it's descriptive.
Right.
All right. Well, fascinating stuff. And so thank you so much for joining us today, Madeline.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Madeline Heim is a reporter at the Journal Sentinel and also a Report for America Corps member, and she covers environmental challenges specifically on the Mississippi River. So thank you so much for being here, and we will be back with more after this.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Harley-Davidson board member's resignation drawing attention for its concern over the future of the company.
Eric Bilstad.
China now accusing the U.S. of economic bullying while it raises tariffs on American goods.
And traffic with Debbie Lozica.
We've got 43 northbound completely closed at North Avenue because of a crash.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
There's a winning magic powering up at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. This April, prepare for an exciting quest to $300,000 in the Enchanted Spin Slot Tournament. Just conjure your rewards card and play slots to earn drawing entries. Each Thursday, 60 winners will compete for thousands in cash and prizes. Let your journey begin with Enchanted Spins, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your Accunet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues that keep you from doing what you love. At OAW, a visit to the doctor doesn't always mean surgery. Everyone is different. Surgeons, nurses, physical therapists work together to come up with a plan for you. Maybe it's PT, medication, injection, and if you do need surgery like I did, you know you're in the best of hands. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. Book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
More Chaperone. I wonder if that joke will continue on. I think Steve still doesn't know who Chaperone is, but maybe by the first month of the new show, he will finally know who Chaperone is. But when we come back, we're going to do our last Giving Tuesday. And this one was kind of literally fell into my lap in person. But first, ABC News and local headlines.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Texas, health officials confirming 20 more measles cases since Friday. That's a total of 561 cases in the state. The majority of cases, those who are unvaccinated or vaccination status is unknown. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. attended the funeral of one of the two children who died in Texas. Both were unvaccinated.
Healthy children should not die of measles, and there's no reason they should. If the doctors know how to treat at the hospital, that will not happen.
RFK Jr., who's expressed skepticism in vaccines over the decades, now urging people to get vaccinated. There are more than 700 measles cases nationwide. A judge has denied bail for the suspect in the firebomb attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence. Cody Balmer being held on charges including arson and attempted murder. In New York City, jury selection beginning today in the newest sex assault trial of movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. He's pleaded not guilty to charges. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:31, 48 degrees, mostly cloudy. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Greg Matzik. An East Side Food Hall will be closing its doors. Crossroads Collective will close May 8th. The food hall opened on the corner of Farwell and North on Milwaukee's East Side in 2018. It's hoping to be replaced by a local restaurant expanding into its space, which they say is part of their mission to help give small businesses a place to grow. Well, keep those eyes on the road and the speeds in check. If you're traveling in Dane County, pilots with the Wisconsin State Patrol are watching the roads from the air this week, looking for unsafe drivers. They'll patrol U.S. Highways 12, 18 in Dane County through Wednesday, April 16th. If the pilot sees speeders, drunk drivers, or other reckless behavior, they'll radio to officers on the ground who can make any necessary stops. And a movie theater in northeast Wisconsin is taking a drastic response to a popular trend during the Minecraft movie. The moment in the film where the actors say chicken jockey has led to crowds throwing popcorn and jumping on each other's shoulders in excitement. Cinema 6 in Sturgeon Bay says they're outright banning anyone attending the movie under 18 from buying concessions to prevent theaters from becoming a mess. The theater says they'll revisit the ban once the trend calms down. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the red right now. The Dow down about 100 points at 40,425. NASDAQ off about 40 today at 16,799. S&P 500 back and forth from red to green, currently about 6.5 points in the negative at 53.99. Annex Wealth Management. Visit annexwealth.com and know the difference. Taking a look at your roads at WTMJ Time Saver Traffic Update. 43 south at Good Hope Road. Right shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Kind of slowing things down in that area. Brown Deer to downtown, 43 southbound. Going to run you about a 4-minute delay if you're heading through that area. Typical construction slowing things down as well. No other issues on the roads this afternoon. Mild volume and standard travel times. Might get a peek of the sun later on, but primarily a cloudy day, breezy and a high of 50, overnight low 26 inland. Sunny on Wednesday, 55 degrees inland, 48 near the lake. Could see some showers and storms on Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the mid-60s to possibly even 70 degrees on Friday. Right now in Waukesha, it's 46, Madison 48, Green Bay 48, and 48 and cloudy at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:34.
Springtime DIY is in full bloom at Fleet Farm. 3-pound bags of Superior grass seed are on sale for just $9.99. 32-pound bags of Superior wheat and feed are sale priced at $19.99. Plus, buy an M18 5-amp rechargeable battery starter kit and get a select Milwaukee Bear tool for free. In-store only. Indoor, outdoor. Handle all your DIY needs at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
Are you worried about running out of money in retirement? Wondering about how to pay less taxes? Join me, Tony Drake, for the Retirement Ready Show live every Saturday at noon and Sunday at 7 a.m. on WTMJ 620 or 103.3 FM. We'll talk about smart strategies to help you retire with confidence. Don't miss it.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
She's different and special and loaded with personality.
And there's one more thing, but you can't explain it in words.
She's the one.
She's the one.
The one.
You know it.
Your friends know it.
The whole world knows it.
We curated a special selection of engagement rings for her.
Can you guess what we call it?
We call it the One Collection by Kessler's.
Because these engagement rings are different.
And special.
And loaded with personality.
And one more thing. But you can't explain it in words.
Engagement rings in the One Collection start at just $725.
But some of them are more.
A lot more.
But we've got you covered.
First, we have 12 months financing at 0%. Or
second, we have 36 months financing at 9.99%, both with approved credit.
Third, we have second chance financing if you need someone to give you a second chance.
And don't forget the Kessler's warranty.
The strongest warranty of any jewelry store in the world.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey. We're moving things around a little bit, so if you're used to hearing Giving Tuesday at this segment, it's going to be at 2:15 today. So instead, I don't know if this will go anywhere, but I was thrilled to see that there could be bipartisan agreement on something that I am very passionate about. So we have talked many times on this show. I have talked many times in my op-eds at Journal Sentinel about those constitutional amendments that I feel like every election we've had in the last 2, maybe even 3 years, there has been a weirdly worded amendment and referendum question on our ballot. So much that we're worded so poorly that I've had lawyers be like, I don't even know what this means. And I have said again and again that I feel like this is dishonest. And like, I don't like, it's like, it leaves it open to people to think that it is worded that poorly in order to purposefully confuse people. But it sounds like at least there's some Republicans and some Democrats who are like, yeah, maybe we should put an end to this practice. So I read in the Cap Times this morning. So on the Republican side, State Representative Jerry O'Connor says that he's always wondered why the constitutional amendments he's voting on were written in such terrible legalese. And similarly, on the Democratic side, Representative Deb Andraka in Whitefish Bay agreed. She is a former elementary school teacher. And so she knows that if we can, write things at a third grade level, I know like USA Today, there's lots of news organizations that know how to write things for a lower reading level so that anyone who reads it understands what it is. We should be able to do that on our ballots. So there is a group, O'Connor heading them, of Republican legislators who have introduced a bill to give voters more information about the Wisconsin constitutional amendments they're considering. And then separately, Andraka and a group of Democratic legislators have introduced a similar bill requiring that the amendment descriptions be written in plain English. Now, the question is, who gets to decide what plain English actually looks like? But, changes to the state the founding document is not really a small thing. And so it takes, as we've talked about before, it takes 2 years or more to amend the Constitution, and then amendments are very hard to undo. And so with this, I would like to see, this is not, I don't think this would change in the Constitution, is not what they're talking about, but actually having a bill that changes how things get worded on our ballots, or at least provide more information when you go to vote. Because I feel like every time people open, whether it's they're checking their ballot when they go on myvote.wi.gov to see what's on there, but the amount of times every election I get questions of being like, what does this mean? And because a lot of times these amendments have political undertones as far as which groups, which political party is in favor of them, then a lot of the information that actually gets released is not from the Wisconsin Elections Commission, right? It's not a completely independent, nonpartisan informational piece. Like a lot of the media outlets and different reporters try to put those pieces out. But as far as an official piece of information that informs you, this is what this means, ultimately you end up getting League of Women Voters or the WMC or all the invested groups telling you the ramifications if you don't vote a certain way, if this passes or doesn't pass. And so you get biased information. It's still information, but it is from a source that is certainly invested in a certain outcome. And so I would be a big favor of both of these bills. Maybe they can get together. Maybe they can join forces and do some bipartisan legislation as far as both writing any referenda that gets on the ballot that is going to amend our Constitution, written in plain language, and supplemented with official independent information as far as what you are voting on and what a yes vote or a no vote would actually mean. So at least they're being discussed, they're being introduced. We'll see. We'll see if this actually goes anywhere. But, it's sometimes you got to highlight the good things. All right. And with that, we will be back more to talk about some of the bad things. We touched on it a little bit yesterday when Natalie Eilbert was here talking about federal funding cuts and the impact it's having on different behavioral health and mental health programs. But the same thing is also happening with crisis services for both sexual and domestic violence victims. And so we're going to be talking to Carmen Petrie on the other side of this, who is the CEO of Sojourner Peace Center, to talk about what the fire alarm has been so far as how they're navigating the limbo that they're in when it comes to HHS employees and federal funding. So stay with us on Spanning the State.
You can't beat Burkhart.
New Berlin and Fox Point.
Hey, boaters! This is Dave Dorrell from Kendor Marine. And hey, boaters love shopping here. How do I know? Well, most times it's because they tell me, Dave, I love shopping here. But other times it's because they tell you. If you need a reason to come here, just check out our online reviews. They tell the whole story. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey, boaters!
At Kendor Marine, we have everything you could want, think of, or wish for your boat. We're committed to making sure you always have a place to fulfill every boating need that you have. And if you ask around, you'll find out our prices always beat the other guys. This is Dave Dorrell from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics, chronic joint pain. You know what living with chronic joint pain is like? It's like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good, right? So forget trying to do the things you enjoy like golfing or hiking or tennis. You're just trying to get by. But there is something you can do. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Milwaukee are on the case and focus on getting you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that can help calm the debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. If you're curious if you'd be a candidate, the consultation is totally free, and they do have appointments on Saturdays. So here's the number. Call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profile the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life. Becoming everyday heroes.
When I made that decision, I'm going in, I said, Lord, please don't let this be my last day.
When you hear someone screaming from the water, a man clearly in distress.
I try to tell him, stay with me.
But wait.
And so I turn around and there's two more people, farther in. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Everyday Hero on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Brewers baseball is here. Time to pick your Brewers games and get back to the ballpark for tailgate traditions and walk-off wins. Don't miss any of the big games or the superstars. And come back for the best giveaways. Where else would you want to be? Brewers tickets for the 2025 season are on sale now. That's every game all summer long. Get on board for the show today. Grab your seats at brewers.com/ticket finder.
Tell us a little bit about Innovative Signs.
We're located out in Waukesha. Where we are really focused mostly is manufacturing outdoor electrical signs.
You came to Horicon Bank. How do you think other local businesses can benefit?
When I call, Michelle picks up the phone, and when I email, she responds in a timely manner. A few years ago, I talked to my accountant about shopping around looking for a different bank just to get some alternatives, and he said, absolutely not. You're not going to like working for a big bank. They have a lot more regulations. So that's how we got involved with Cornerstone Bank. When Horicon purchased Cornerstone, we came along for the ride, and it's been great.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey, and as I said when we were talking to Natalie Eilbert yesterday about ramifications of some of the federal funding being cut and the impacts on mental health programs, the same thing is also happening when it comes to domestic violence survivors. And so advocates are warning that the cuts have left them in limbo. And I also got an email from Sojourner Family Peace Center recently that identified the fact that a third of their funding comes from federal grants. And so as they are trying to brainstorm and find solutions to what happens next, I wanted to invite Carmen Petrie on, who is the chief executive of Sojourner Family Peace Center in Milwaukee, which is the largest provider of services to domestic violence victims in the state. And so welcome back to the show, Carmen.
Hi, Kristin. Good to be with you.
Good to have you back. So what communication have you received so far about the changes both in funding but also staffing?
I would say, we continue to be in a chaotic and uncertain environment. We're coming off a loss of about $500,000 last year in funding, which, caused us to reduce are staffing by about 10 positions. And we're in a watch and see position right now. $2.9 million of our budget comes from the federal government, and we're preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. We did lose some funding when the budget amendment was passed this year. So, what this means is we're going to have to reduce services. There's just no way we can operate without federal funding. And I also heard the same is true for many of the smaller organizations who have already laid off staff and reduced their hours.
And so you said already staff, but as far as what services are the first to go when you have to start making decisions like this?
Well, I think you're either looking at, most advocacy, you try to go deep with people because it's a very important time in their life. You can only provide shallow services, so you have to look at providing less services to more people just to keep your head above water. So people are waiting longer on the hotline. They're waiting longer for a restraining order. They're staying in sheltered beds longer because there's no housing options available for them.
So I know that I read that that Governor Evers has proposed in his budget $66 million to crime victim services over the next 2 years. Have you been able to talk to many state lawmakers as far as where they feel like, as far as trying to make up some of the gap that could happen if, for sure, this federal funding gets cut?
I have not talked to many individual legislators. The Attorney General was over at the Peace Center last week. We held a press conference just to highlight the voices of programs in the Milwaukee area. Sojourner's one of 8 programs, and there's already some hurt and harm that's happening, and we're looking at potential cuts to navigate what's already on the horizon. I would say the most important thing is our private donors have said, for my entire career, we need the government to be engaged in solving these large problems. And so this partnership between private and public dollars is really critical for the whole ecosystem and the health of our state and the work that we do with vulnerable people.
Have you been able to talk to, I know obviously in Milwaukee it would be Representative Gwen Moore. Has she been able to talk at all?
Yes.
Has she been helpful?
Gwen has been a great champion on this issue. She has gotten us some federal dollars. We've also spoken to Senator Baldwin's office. Representative Vining was out at the press conference, have spoken to the Attorney General, and the governor's office also certainly is aware of the crisis. I would, any legislator listening, I would say this is a very, very critical issue. Sexual assault and domestic violence is nonpartisan.
Yeah.
And it should concern us all on every side of the aisle. So we need to make sure our services can be sustained.
Well, especially because this is also, I should mention, this is the 50th anniversary of Sojourner Family Peace Center, is it not?
Yeah, it is our 50th anniversary. I never would have imagined we'd be living in such chaos and uncertainty. I think people really need to understand the vital services that are at risk. People who are sexually assaulted, battered, who need an advocate to walk through all of the options and systems and housing. Critical services for people are at risk.
And so what else would you advocate as far as people either starting to learn more or anything that they can do in this time of limbo and chaos?
I would say, there's always 3 things: time, money, or talent, time, or money are the things that we look for. So certainly get engaged with nonprofit organizations. Make a donation if you can afford it. All nonprofits right now are living in this uncertainty. Make a donation if you have the means to do that. That's really critically important. Get engaged on the issue. Talk to legislators about this interview, what you're hearing. Call us up at Sojourner so we can educate you. Call your representatives. So use your time and influence to ensure that services can be sustained.
And what's the website if people want to get more information on Sojourner?
It's familypeacecenter.org. You can also call 276-1911, 414, and ask to speak to one of our admin staff or senior directors, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you. People are reaching out. They are making donations. It's really important at this point.
Absolutely.
That happens.
All right, Carmen, thank you so much for making time today.
Thank you, Kristin.
Absolutely.
Good
Carmen.
luck with your job change.
Oh, thank you. I'll talk to you
Okay,
soon.
bye.
Yes. Have a great
Bye.
day. Carmen Petrie is the chief executive of Sojourner Family Peace Center in Milwaukee. It is. This is what I was talking about at the top of the show as far as politics touches everything, and services that are completely nonpartisan and don't know a political party, and things that you don't know that you're going to need until you need them, including domestic violence services that can affect people who are very wealthy and people who are very poor. They do incredible work over there. So if there is something that you can do or donate, Carmen is a saint walking about amongst us. So with that, we will take a short break and be back after this.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
What would your community be like without UW-Madison? The UW is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research. UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just in Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW5 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW, the number 5. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors ranked first among all home improvement projects. To see Geis's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield, or you can also visit their online showroom at geisdoors.com. Geis has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geis at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geis. Visit them online at geisdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
There we go. Welcome back. Before we head to the top of the hour news, I wanted to take a personal privilege and just give a big shout out to the surgical staff at Meriter Hospital in Madison. I think it was about a year ago that I had I don't know if rant is the right word, but I had a bit of a tirade because I was very upset about some of the health processes when it came to my Uncle Doug. And a year later, he had to go back in the hospital. And last week, things were not looking great. And I was up in Madison at Meriter with my mom over the weekend while he was in the ICU. And now he's turned a corner. So knock on wood, if you are a religious person or a soulful person, any good juju or prayers you can put out there for my Uncle Doug, I'd appreciate it. But I just wanted to say, as far as the staff there, and they saved his life. The surgical staff has saved his life, but even more than that, as the empathy and emotion that they have led with my mom and with my uncle, because that's not always the side that you get with healthcare, especially surgical teams, as far as it being more you're in, you're out, but how much my mom has just raved about the care that they have received there. So I wanted to at least shout that out and give a big thanks to everyone over at Meriter. So with that, when we come back after the top of the hour news, we will spin around the state on Spanning the State.
The most common reason pain sufferers come to us is to be able to perform their daily tasks without suffering through them. Grandparents who want to be able to take their grandkids on walks and to the park. Or those that just want to be able to get out of their vehicle with more ease than pain. Rejuvenex pain treatments can help, and the sooner you get to calming down that pain, the better it will be. These are powerful, FDA-approved pain treatments precisely administered with an extremely small needle to get to the root of your pain. And before you know it, you'll feel the anti-inflammatory power of Toradol and the cushioning relief of hyaluronic acid. Positive patient results are regularities, not rarities. And we do this conveniently in office, so it's very easy for you. And we're in network with most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, which could mean zero out-of-pocket costs for your pain relief treatment.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
At Erickson's Landscape Supply, we have durable, maintenance-free polywood patio furniture and #1 grade treated natural pine Amish-made patio furniture. And we also have a wonderful assortment of concrete benches, statues, and fountains available in a selection you just gotta see to believe. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less, plus a whole lot more. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection or stop on in today. He told us to load 4 yards into his 8-foot bed, but we knew that 3 full, honestly measured yards were going to fill his truck bed to the rim. After we proved that, he told us the other guys have been telling him he's been getting 4 yards in there for years. Honest measurements and honest folks who just want to do you right. So you come back. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
American Family Field turns into a jungle as the Brewers take on the Tigers.
Jackson Churio, a high drive, deep left center, way gone! Churio!
Our coverage starts tonight at 6:05 on your home for the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it is 48 degrees. Tonight, clearing skies cool, a low of 26. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 55. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm John Mercure. President Trump says he's considering a temporary exemption on tariffs for the auto industry, saying it would give car makers time to adjust their supply chains, hoping that automakers will relocate production to the United States. He's suggesting another round of tariff reversals. Meanwhile, the administration has taken its next steps towards imposing more tariffs on key imports still planned on pharmaceutical drugs, lumber, copper, and computer chips. And China may be raising the stakes in that brewing trade war with the U.S. CBS's Jason Brooks.
The Chinese government, according to Bloomberg, is instructing the country's domestic airlines to stop taking deliveries of new aircraft ordered from Boeing in response to 145% tariffs on Chinese imports. China's top 3 airlines, Air China, China Eastern Airlines, and China Southern Airlines, are scheduled to accept a combined 179 planes from Boeing between this year and 2027. The report says Beijing is also ordering carriers to suspend purchases of aircraft components and related equipment from U.S. suppliers.
Boeing resumed deliveries of aircraft to China last year following a long pause due to regulatory issues. A newly filed lawsuit aims to block the development of a proposed Buc-ee's travel center off I-94 in Oak Creek. TMJ4's Maria McCarr.
The lawsuit alleges that the rezoning and amendment were done solely for the benefit of the developer, arguing the neighboring community will be burdened by light pollution, crime, and traffic increase. I'm on the phone with Sarah Shreve, who lives less than a mile from where that Buc-ee's would be. She's also part of Oak Creek Neighbors United, the nonprofit that filed the lawsuit.
Our neighborhood recognizes there's going to be some sort of development in that area, but not a circus.
The city has just under 45 days to respond to the lawsuit.
The city says it's reviewing the suit with its legal team. Today's Jackie Robinson Day, and as part of ESPN Wisconsin's Black History Always initiative, they're putting together a special on the legendary baseball player. You'll hear an in-depth conversation with Brewers associate manager Ricky Weeks.
Anytime we get to a point where, thinking about, okay, what happened back then or what happened to Jackie Robinson and things like that, you have to talk about it. And I think the biggest thing that, we can do for a Jackie Robinson and history behind him and the Major League Baseball, we have to keep the name alive and keep talking about it.
The show airs tonight on our sister station 94.5 ESPN at 7 p.m. It'll be available in the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app. Time for news about your money. Here's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A pretty tame day on Wall Street. The NASDAQ right now is off 20 points. The Dow is down 93. The S&P 500 is off 6 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:04.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. It's NBA playoffs time. This week, Marcus and Chris give a playoff preview on the pod. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
Springtime DIY is in full bloom at Fleet Farm. 3-pound bags of Superior grass seed are on sale for just $9.99. 32-pound bags of Superior weed and feed are sale priced at $19.99. Plus, buy an M18 5-amp rechargeable battery starter kit and get a select Milwaukee Bear tool for free. In-store only. Indoor, outdoor. Handle all your DIY needs at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. Bucks guard Damian Lillard has made significant improvement on his deep vein thrombosis in his right calf, according to a statement from the team. But multiple sources are reporting he will not be available for the start of the Bucks series against the Pacers on Saturday. And the Brewers aim to snap a 3-game losing streak tonight against the Tigers. Our coverage starts at 6:05. First pitch at 6:40 on WTMJ. Checking out your roads with the WTMJ Time Saver traffic. It's not a lot going on right now. One little incident, I-94 westbound near the ramp to Blue Mound Road. The right shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, clearing skies cool, a low of 26 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 55. On Thursday, chance for showers late in the day, a high of 64. On Friday, a better chance for rain. Some of it could be strong, a high of 68. Saturday, partly cloudy, a high of 50 degrees. Right now in Green Bay, mostly cloudy and 48. In Madison, mostly cloudy, 49. In Milwaukee, cloudy skies and 45 degrees. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:07.
It's time to take a spin around Wisconsin and find stories you might have missed. Here's Spinning the State on Spanning the State with Kristin Brey.
All right. It is our last spinning on Spanning. I don't know if Steve likes this segment, but I'm not sure it necessarily fits for for the show that we are starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Might be some IP infringement too, but
yeah, we got to retire the wheel, man.
We got to retire the wheel. All right, Rhea, do you want to spin the wheel?
I'm not set up to spin it, but you should spin it.
All right, I'll spin it. Let's see where we're going first.
You
Oh, nope, not that one. Now we're spinning the wheel.
Platteville.
Well, this kind of gives away what we're going to talk about as far as where I was going to go with the story. But would it surprise you to find out that Platteville is the best college town in Wisconsin?
Is that like La Crosse area?
Have you ever been to Platteville?
No.
That doesn't surprise me. Last time I was in Platteville was when Bo Ryan was still coaching basketball there. I grew up. You don't know who Bo Ryan is either. Oh my God, Rhea.
Wait, is this someone I should know?
Yes. He's like arguably one of the best, if not the best, Badger basketball coach ever. He's also one of my dad's very good friends. But he's the one, I mean, when Ben Brust was in here last week talking about when the Badgers made the run to the Final Four, and then the next year they made it to the championship game, Bo Ryan was the coach. Anyways, for a long time, he was the coach at Platteville. And so I grew up visiting Bo and his family, but then also going to his basketball camps. So it's been a while since I've been in Platteville. But according to a recent report from Rent Cafe, analysts used 12 different metrics across 3 categories to rank college towns for this report. So the college towns there was population requirements that were basically, it had to be a minimum of 10,000 people and a maximum population of 300,000. So already we know Madison's out. And then the student population had to be a minimum of 10% of the total population. So I don't know how that works against all the different college towns in Wisconsin, but that was the initial criteria to be a college town in the running. So then, after several other population-related factors narrowed down picks for the final list, the remaining 235 candidate towns were analyzed for their education, affordability, and livability. Graduation rates, tuition, and university score were among the other 12 metrics considered. So based on all of those metrics, it seems like a lot of criteria that took out a lot of towns that we would think of as really good college towns, but I'm not, whatever. Platteville ranked 20th. So it was 20th overall in the country, and then it was 7th in the Midwest. And so there you go, Platteville representing. And I guess it was the first time that we actually went to Platteville in a year. So there you go. All right, let's see where we are going next.
Kaukauna.
All right, Kaukauna. If you were a lottery person, check your ticket, because a Fox Valley Quick Trip is home to a winning Megabucks ticket worth $9.5 million. So this was published yesterday in the Post-Crescent. So maybe whoever has this ticket has already come forward and this story is now old. But if they have not, if you bought a Megabucks ticket, so the drawing took place on April 12th, and the winner bought the ticket at the Quick Trip at 1101 Gertrude Street in Kaukauna. So the winning numbers were 7, 10, 13, 19, 34, 35. So this would be the largest Wisconsin lottery prize win of 2025 so far. And the day saw 4 Megabucks winners. And Megabucks is only available in Wisconsin, offering 2 plays for $1. The winner of the ticket will have 180 days from the draw date to claim their earnings. And as of, I tried to look before the show started, it has not been published yet if anyone has come forward with their winnings yet. But then Quick Trip will receive a 2% retailer performance winning ticket incentive and up to $100,000. It's so funny because I feel like when we talk about Powerball or any of these big lottery ticket things, it's like hundreds of millions of dollars. But could you imagine just winning $9 million? Like how comfy you'd feel for a little while. Because I mean, I feel like I could retire certainly on $9 million. Probably would still work, but I think about that all the time because I don't gamble. I didn't grow up being like, oh yeah, like we're at the gas station, buy a lottery ticket. Mike and his family loves lottery tickets. Yes. So it's constantly like we'll get in the car and Mike will ask me to look up the Powerball numbers. And he's like, big money, big money, big money. And then we obviously have not won. But now, since I am married to someone who does this, I do find myself sometimes daydreaming of just like, even not the big prize, even just like $100,000. It would be so nice.
A game changer. It would help.
Right? It would just feel like, oh, that is a nice cushion. So I hope they didn't throw out their ticket. Because as of today, no one had claimed it yet. So, all right. So that was Spinning the State on Spanning the State. When we come back, now we will have Giving Tuesday. So stay with us on Spanning the State.
We get it. You're on the go, and life gets in the way. Stay up to date on all things WTMJ with podcasts of every show. Available on WTMJ.com. And don't forget you can stream WTMJ online and watch your favorite WTMJ shows on YouTube. Every show, when you want it, no matter where you are. We are Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scafidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds. Reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely. And I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
It's time for Giving Tuesday, where we introduce you to Wisconsin people and organizations that are advocating for causes and doing good across the state. So I'm going to have to figure out how to keep this segment going, even though this is our last show. Maybe it's a podcast. Spalding said we could call it the Bright Side, but I feel like using my last name as something. Yeah, I don't think that works. Because I love this segment. I love meeting people who are doing really good work and helping other people. And I love meeting someone randomly and hearing about their great work, because then I can also say, hey, come on the show and talk about it, which is exactly what happened with my next guest, Reverend Dr. Lisa Bates Froyland, who's a pastor at Redeemer Lutheran Church. And so I was at Milwaukee Rep with my mom for seeing the last 5 years. And I walked out of the theater and a man said, Kristin Brey? And I go, hi. And he had recognized me from different social media stuff. He goes, you need to be my wife. And then the Reverend walked out and we started talking, and she told me about some of the projects and the clinic and the renovations happening at Redeemer. And so I was like, well, you need to come on the show. And here you are. So welcome to Spanning the State.
I am so happy to be here and so happy to be on the radio, because I was a radio announcer from ages 16 to 22. And so I am so happy to be
Where were you a radio announcer?
Started out in Wadena, Minnesota, KWAD. Do not call it KWAD. That was a country music format. And then I went to St. Olaf College, and they had an NPR affiliate that did classical music, where I butchered the pronunciation of many, many classical composers and lit up those phone lines that way.
They would call it and correct you?
Oh, absolutely.
I get corrected. Nothing has changed. There's often, there's a random thing, I think still some of the Milwaukee things that I'm like, oh, I did not pronounce that correctly. And they're very quick to tell you.
So, yeah, I'm thrilled to have headphones on and be talking.
Well, you have a very nice radio voice, so I can see why that was an early career for you.
It was really fun. It was a ton of fun. Now I'm pastor at Redeemer.
Yes.
It's just up the street. You know,
It's not far from here.
Wisconsin.
So it's on the edge of Marquette's campus, right?
Correct. It's right next to the dentistry school. It's at 19th and Wisconsin Avenue, across the street from the Pabst Mansion.
Okay, perfect. And so how long, tell me a little bit more history about Redeemer, but also how long you've been there.
Redeemer Lutheran is the first exclusively English-speaking Lutheran congregation in the state of Wisconsin. So it has that little claim to fame. And the good Reverend Frick came up from Ohio, and he said, it's time for Lutherans to worship in English. So he founded the congregation in about 1890. They started up kind of around here. They were above Campbell's Tavern, and now every church wants to be above a tavern.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that was a new
Oh,
trend
my
as far as
goodness.
churches
Yes,
above.
to be in public spaces. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Then they had a building at 16th and Wells. That's now a parking garage. And then the building where we are right now has been there since 1917, the older part of the sanctuary. And then they built on a west wing when all the churches were building back in the 1950s. So that was in 1954. And largely, the congregation once was huge. It was kind of a landmark Lutheran congregation in the city of Milwaukee. And then a whole bunch of things happened, and it was dwindling and really on its last legs. I started there 14 years ago, and those who remained were ready to take a chance on a lot of things. So we started a bunch of new ideas. I went around 68 blocks all the way around there, and whoever we encountered and whoever we went in and visited, we just asked what would make this neighborhood an even better place to live and work. And with some of the answers that we got, we kind of built in the way that we wanted to reach out to the community and be responsive to what was happening in the neighborhood.
And so what are some of, 68 block radius, that is something.
a lot of walking.
That's a lot of walking. That's a lot of conversations. And so I guess what were some of the things that you've heard that you've since implemented?
Well, sometimes it was the use of space. And one of my many, many mentors said, figure out what it is that you have of value that you can share. And it's true of my church and most churches that we have abundant space. So in those early years, there was a school just up the block a ways that didn't have any place to do Phi Ed. So these poor kiddos were down in the basement hitting their heads on the pipes that went across as they were trying to do step aerobics. And I said, come on in and do those classes here. So some of those early things just kind of warmed us all up to the notion that we were in that neighborhood together and that we could start to depend on one another in that way. Then we started to open our doors to having people come in for lunch, whoever was hungry and nearby. And we did this in a partnership with Marquette students who had formed this group called Midnight Run many years before. And when I started there 14 years ago, I looked out one of the windows on a cold morning in March, and I saw these kids handing out sandwiches in a parking lot right behind my church. I said, I wonder what they're doing. Why are they out there in the cold? And so I went and talked with them, and I said, goodness, I've got this huge building, and the heat only goes on and off. So why don't you come in and use some of the heated space to serve this meal? And so that partnership really, really grew. It grew into a lunch that was home cooked on site. And that now is being called Lunch at Olga's. And we're serving it in the new space now, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And we would love to have more people volunteer with that program.
Wonderful. And so there, as you said, the new space. So there was a big grand opening ribbon cutting that happened yesterday. So tell us about that.
Yes, the county executive came by and he had speeches, and so did the architect Ramlo Stein. Scott Ramlo stood up and spoke. The new space also is the headquarters for Interfaith Conference of Greater Milwaukee. So Ahmed Qureshi was there to speak. My bishop spoke. And then, very importantly, the partners that are a part of Olga, Neighborhood Wellness Services, a nonprofit that Redeemer spun off in order to kind of administer and facilitate these outreaches, especially, and this is, again, in response to what we saw in the neighborhood. And it was people who were walking around with mental health disturbances and also struggling with addiction issues and not finding a good place to get started on looking at those problems. So Olga has partnered with Serenity Inns to provide on-site mental health counseling, substance use disorder counseling, and there's a peer mentor there as well. They can even do some kind of work on referrals for housing, and housing remains the big obstacle. So they all now have offices in what used to be the dining room in the basement. You know, that typical church basement, dining room and kitchen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my gosh. So that has been transformed into beautiful, gleaming, fresh new offices and counseling rooms. And then upstairs, what used to be just an auditorium, paneling everywhere, now has become a glorious event space. And that's where we serve the meals, because I always felt bad about, okay, go down to the basement and have your lunch. Now it's in the most beautiful space that we have to offer besides the sanctuary.
So it's fascinating because it feels like it's a church, it's a congregation, but it also just feels like the definition of a community hub. And so what is the overlap from the people who in all these different programs that you have that are also coming to church on Sunday? And does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And I always say, we don't test someone's faith in order to come to any of the services. It's a test of our faith to offer it and to outpour whatever generosity and skills and resources we have to share, because a human is a human, and we're all meant to love God and love our neighbor. And so the structure of the building is kind of organized that way. Mm-hmm. The sanctuary is one wing, and then there's another wing that extends to the west. So we call the one the Love God wing and the other the Love Your Neighbor wing. And so that's where a lot of these community-focused things happen.
Absolutely. And then you said there's another next step to another renovation that's coming soon, right?
Well, not a renovation, but we are going to bless the space again.
Okay.
So yesterday was a ribbon cutting, and we had all of these partners who were involved in the project on site to do that. We had some media that were also there. But then on May 10th, it's a Saturday from 2 to 4, we're going to call together our congregational partners, anyone from the neighborhood and the community that wants to come as well. We're going to kind of do guided tours and bless the space, space by space by space. So it'd be wonderful to have people come at that time too.
Wonderful. And then it is Holy Week. And so any special events beyond Mass coming for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday?
Well, absolutely. We have a Good Friday service at 7 o'clock, and what we do on that service is not to just have the pastor preaching, but to have reflections from the people involved in the faith community. So it's the 7 words of Christ as interpreted by people who have walked with us in the community for the last year. So that would be one thing that I would highlight. And then Easter Sunday, 8 and 10, Easter breakfast in between, and then there's a lunch at Olga's after that. So lots of activities.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
The building is beautiful. It's refreshed, and it ended up being about a $6 million project. We raised $4.5 million, which is what we thought we would need. And so we're still looking for $1.4 million worth of support. We've got some plans for how to garner that, but the worst thing to do to a new nonprofit and a ministry in the city is to encumber it with debt. So we want to say goodbye to the debt as soon as possible. So people can look at...
where can people get more
Redeemer
information?
Lutheran, www.redeemermilwaukee.org is where you can get more information.
Well, it is quite... Everything that you guys are doing there is just... That's why I wanted to make sure that I got you on for our last show. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad that we met.
Absolutely. Reverend Dr. Lisa Bates-Froyland is the pastor at Redeemer Lutheran Church. Say the website one more time.
www.redeemermilwaukee.org.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll be back with more after this.
A whole day dedicated to us?
No, dedicated to you, the WTMJ fan.
Come celebrate WTMJ with us, your favorite WTMJ host, at a private tailgate at the Brewers game Saturday, May 17th.
Enjoy food, drinks, and hanging out with us. Plus tickets to the Brewers game as they take on the Twins at AmFam Field.
Get more information and secure your tickets at WTMJday.com.
Tickets will go fast, so sign up today.
We'll see you at the ballpark for WTMJ Day, Saturday, May 17th.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
If the amazing regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics provided relief for former pro football player Bobby Carpenter, imagine the potential for your aching joints.
So my knee had been bothering me for a while. I'd played football for a number of years. I looked at talking to some doctors when I need to potentially have surgery, and I decided hey, let's check out QC Kinetics. I go in there and they look at the knee. Hey, here's the program that we can put you through.
That treatment takes your body's own healing properties and concentrates them at the root of the pain. No surgery or downtime.
The best part was there's no recovery until one day I felt like, hey, this feels like my old self again. I feel better. It's helped me. It's helped my dad. Hopefully it will help you in the same way. My message to them is do not wait. So you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Take it from Bobby Carpenter. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
April is Global Volunteer Month. Find the perfect volunteer opportunities for you at volunteerwisconsin.org or contact your local United Way or Volunteer Center today. Volunteerwisconsin.org is hosted by United Way of Wisconsin and Serve Wisconsin. Paid for by United Way of Wisconsin.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. Another big thanks to Reverend Lisa Bates Froyland for coming in to talk about Redeemer Lutheran Church. Jim from the 847 texted in with a suggestion on how spinning could maybe live on. And he said, you could evolve the segment into Spinning the Truth, where you and Steve dive into media narratives and political framing. Or how about Full Spin Ahead, your take on the day's most aggressively spun political issues. I like that idea, Jim. I think that has some legs. So I will pitch it to Steve, who's actually going to join us in the next half hour. So stay tuned.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Police are responding to a shooting incident at a Texas high school in the Dallas area, the second shooting incident in the past year at that school.
According to Dallas schools, police responded to a shooting at Wilmer Hutchins High School. Students could be seen coming out of the school. Police were outside with long guns. This student came out.
We're just in a foyer, a few students in there just talking. And all of a sudden it got quiet and you just hearing gunshots.
Police haven't said what led up to the shooting. Multiple ambulances responded to the high school. Alex Stone, ABC News.
At a town hall in Fort Madison, Iowa today, Senator Chuck Grassley fielded questions on tariffs and deportations. One resident shouting if Grassley was going to bring back the man mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador. Grassley says it's not within Congress's power and suggested the Supreme Court ruling ordering the Trump administration to facilitate his return does not apply to El Salvador. It's tax day. If you haven't filed your return, you have until midnight. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time 2:31. I'm John Mercure. Oak Creek neighbors are suing to block the city from allowing a Buc-ee's Travel Center at I-94 and Elm Road. The 20-page lawsuit challenges the city's efforts to rezone the vacant land. Buc-ee's are massive gas station convenience stores with up to 120 gas pumps. The University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh has a new chancellor. Dr. Manohar Singh is currently the interim president of Western Connecticut State University. He'll start as the chancellor at the UW-Oshkosh on July 1st. And an East Side food hall will be closing its doors. Crossroads Collective will close on May 8th. The food hall opened on the corner of Farwell and North on Milwaukee's East Side in December of 2018. Time for news about your money. Everything in the red just a little bit. The NASDAQ is off 16 points on the day. The Dow is down 98. The S&P 500 is off 5 points. It's financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Checking out the roads. Look at this. The system is green. No significant slowdowns or delays anywhere. WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, clearing skies, cool, a low of 26 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny, a high of 55. Thursday, chance for storms, a high of 64. Friday, storms are more likely, a high of 68. Saturday, partly cloudy, a high of 50. In Green Bay, cloudy and 48 degrees. In Madison, partly cloudy and 49. In Milwaukee, cloudy skies and 45. I'm John Mercure, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:33. Enjoy a free dinner this week at the historic Fox and Hounds, one of the most unique and affordable supper clubs in Wisconsin. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds, one of my very favorite places. You will enjoy fabulous food and 90 years of history in the gorgeous stone and timber building. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free every single night, free. Seafood, choice steaks, short ribs, a real favorite, pasta, prime rib Wednesday and Saturday, even the steak and lobster, your second dinner is always free. Desserts and ice cream drinks, buy one, get one free. I love that chocolate cake with the extra ice cream. Unwind with an old-fashioned, a Manhattan, 20 bourbons to choose from, 100 wines from around the world. Wherever you live, it's worth the spectacular drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest for your free dinner. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill, escape from your kitchen with a free dinner this week. Man, that sounds great. Call and reserve, foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Rhea, how old were you when Titanic, the movie, came out?
Was it 1999? So I would have been 4.
No, I would have been like sixth or 7th grade. So it was like 96, 97.
Oh, then 1.
Oh, so you never got to live through the Titanic craze that was.
Well, yes, because that was like my favorite movie for years.
But you didn't see it in the theater.
Of course not. No.
Man, I remember seeing that movie in the theater with my mom. And during the final, spoiler alert,
right?
it sinks. But in the movie, when it splits in half, and then like in the CGI of some of the people falling off, like one hits the propeller, and just my like 11 or 12-year-old just little body just like sobbing, just totally losing it in the theater. I shouldn't be laughing, but I saw a funny take recently, specifically on the movie, about Rose holding on to that $100 million necklace for her entire life when it's like, family really could have used that money. And
I'm saying.
You're still pining over Jack, who you didn't even let on the door with you?
Literally.
Anyways, why are we talking about this? We're talking about it because today marks, it is the anniversary of the RMS Titanic sinking. It was 113 years ago. And what connection to Wisconsin does that have? Well, I read this in Up North News this morning in their newsletter that apparently more than 50 passengers aboard the unsinkable ship had ties to Wisconsin. Maybe not so surprisingly that the majority were third-class immigrants, and they were heading to Wisconsin for the very first time. And they're either heading to, Milwaukee or New Glarus, and people trying to start a new life. So there's been some documentation of this. Back in 2021, the Oshkosh Public Museum hosted a limited time exhibit called Titanic, the Wisconsin Connection. And so they had 100 different items collected from the bottom of the ocean, in the different times that they've gone and tried to collect things from there. The showcase has closed. And so there's still, I think it's a Spectrum News 1 page or news story about this. And you can see some of the pictures of like tools and saw handles and some of the pictures of the people that were connected to Wisconsin. And then the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel also had a deep dive in the backstories of more than a dozen different passengers. And some of those stories included a man traveling third class who survived by jumping into a half-capacity lifeboat. I think that was documented, I think. It's like, what was Rose's fiance's name, who was like, pretends to have a child and try to get in the boat just for self-preservation? Billy Zidane is the actor. Zidane? You don't know. So you were only one when they came out, so why would you know? And then there was a woman who did make it safely to a lifeboat with her 2.5-year-old daughter, but then she died died because she jumped out of the boat looking for her infant son, which is that. And then there's a Swiss farmer immigrating back to Beloit who was buried in an unmarked grave for 8 decades. And so I always think of this, though, because in the movie, there is a Wisconsin tie. Jack is from Wisconsin.
You ever been to Wisconsin?
What?
Well, they have some of the coldest winters around. I grew up there near Chippewa Falls. I remember when I was a kid, me and my father, we went ice fishing out on Lake Wissota. Ice fishing is,
I know what ice fishing is.
Sorry. You just seem like, kind of an indoor girl.
So Guy didn't have, I would say, Leo could have worked on his Wisconsin accent a little bit. Lake Wissota. That's what we needed a little bit more. But then famously, Charlie Barron's had his take on what Jack would sound like if he was actually from Chippewa Falls.
You ever been to Wisconsin? Home of the Packers, Miller High Life Light, the champagne of beers.
What?
Well, they have some of the coldest winters around. Grew up there near Chippewa Falls. I remember when I was a kid. Me and my father, we went ice fishing up there on Lake Wissota. Caught some walleyes. Ice fishing is, where you...
I know what ice fishing is.
Sorry. You just seem like, kind of an Illinois girl.
Da-da-da. So, yeah, that's what I saw. It was the anniversary today. I was like, let's have some fun with that. But when we come back, Steve Scafidi is going to call us from poolside in Vegas to, maybe give you a little preview of what you can expect tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the premiere of Point Taken with Scafidi and Brey. Stay tuned on WTMJ.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Pam.
Good friends of ours moved there, and they had invited us over for dinner a number of times. And they said, we waited way too long. You should come when you're younger. They had no idea it was going to be this great. There are just so many things to do, and it keeps you young. I mean, we have a lot of residents who are pushing 100. I believe they're there and still alive because of Three Pillars.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
First class isn't as cheap as Coach, but while they last, you can buy high-end Beautyrest Black and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hasseless Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like a Beautyrest Black LX Hybrid was $3,599, but now it's just $971. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasseless.com.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Richlands. For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices, and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Escape the city and relax at Lake Lawn Resort in beautiful Delavan, Wisconsin. Enjoy outdoor activities on Delavan Lake, tee off at the Lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind at the award-winning Caladora Spa. With both indoor and outdoor pools, there's fun for the whole family. Take a cruise on the Lake Lawn Queen, explore stunning shores and historic landmarks, and enjoy delicious food and drinks on board. Book your stay today at lakelawnresort.com, where everything is better at the lake.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With spring in the air, a young man's fancy turns to ceiling fans. And at BBC, he'll see all the best quality fans and their newest styles. The new fan electronics provide a great method of moving air, and with LED lights, they use less electricity than ever. We have fans in all sizes, from 24 to 96 inches wide, and their motors are warranted for life. At BBC, we advise you on the right fan for your needs, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturday 10 to 4 and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey.
All right, Steve Scafidi, are you poolside right now?
I was poolside. Now I'm in a quieter place because the pool's got a lot of loud music playing.
Too loud, even on a Tuesday?
Every day is Saturday night in Vegas. You know this. Have you been to Vegas?
I have been to Vegas. I'm not as an expert level like you at Vegas, but I have been 4 times. I've not gone very often. I'm not a gambler.
I've literally played blackjack at 5 or 6 different casinos in the last 2 days.
All right, how much are you up right now?
I'm plus a little bit.
Okay.
Not a lot, but
plus
my
a little
wife
bit is a win when the house definitely wants you to be down.
Yes, they work hard to make that the case, and my wife Kathy has been like killing it on everything she touches, so she's good.
So wait, do you guys not consider it a joint winning? Is that her money?
That's her money. Yes.
Oh, progressive.
Yeah, it's it's the modern couple of the world,
All right. I'm trying to decide where I want to go with this because I feel like on the one side, I want to tease you about don't go on vacation because we might just change the lineup on you while you're gone.
Well, I leave for 2 days for a religious retreat in Las Vegas, and everything changes. New hours, new show, new co-host. It's like whoosh.
But how are you feeling? What are we going to talk about tomorrow? Have you been keeping up with the news?
Not too closely, but I guess my big takeaway is that the president and his administration just aren't going to follow the rules of the law, especially when judges say you got to do this. They're going to go the other way with it. So that's sort of this fundamental challenge to our judiciary in this country and our system of government. So I would imagine that would be one of the top 3 we talk about tomorrow.
I definitely think that's where we need to start. It's been interesting trying to do the show the last 2 days as I've been scanning the news on what do I want to save for Wednesday and what do I want to try to squeeze in on the last 2 episodes of Spanning the State. But here's one that I feel like may not fit on either show, so let's go ahead and do it. Do you have thoughts, Steve Scafidi, on the Blue Origin all-female mission that lasted about 10 minutes yesterday?
I thought it was cool. I mean,
Did you?
yeah, I mean, obviously it's pay to play, right? They're paying a lot of money to do that. Gayle King was up there, and raise your hand if you're not a fan of Katy Perry, and maybe she'll write a song about it.
I will raise my hand. I am not a fan of Katy Perry. Yeah, she doesn't do it for me.
And all that stuff. No,
she's fine.
Anyway, put me in the Katy Perry category. So I'm excited. I'm always cheerleading that nothing bad happens, regardless.
Of course.
But I thought it was cool. I mean, it's an amazing story. It's the next step, right, to whatever that future thing is, where we go to the moon on like a weekend and come back. Maybe you can even gamble at the moon. Who knows? And then eventually we get to Mars with some sort of a base station there. I'll be long gone. You might be because you're much younger than me, but I'll be long gone by then. So we'll see.
So that's how you take it. You take this as a step forward for man and womankind as far as our ability to commercialize space travel.
I'll make it historic. One small step for womankind. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But here's my problem with this.
All right, give me your take.
My take is that it's obviously a publicity stunt. I don't understand what they were actually doing up there, and I feel like it was masqueraded as this like feminist, like women in STEM charade. That it's like, all right, well maybe if we're actually trying to promote women in STEM, don't fire women who work at NASA, or don't remove their bios from the NASA website, and maybe put women up there who already work in STEM and let them have a chance to go to space versus Katy Perry.
Correct the wrongs of the past, right? So take some of those new women who are still pioneers in an industry still dominated by men and let them be the passengers. Now, that would have been a nice
It was just a random group of people.
It was. So they've all been. I mean, Shatner went up recently. I mean, that's always the case with these. Here's what it demonstrates if you're looking at the physics and the science of it, that we can blast into space fairly frequently at a lower cost, and it seems to work pretty well. They have a great success with these Blue Origin flights. So that's the takeaway from that perspective. Yeah, it's publicity. Yeah, because we're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it now. So that's sort of that side of it. If you want these things to advance and move forward, that's going to have to be part of the story as well.
It's funny that you bring up Shatner, because now his quote, like what his testimony was after he got to go up there, is circulating again. Yeah. And this is what he said. It was not the joyous experience that you thought it might have been. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read the second part. It was among the strongest feelings of grief I have ever encountered. The contrast between the vicious coldness of space and the warm nurturing of Earth below filled me with an overwhelming sadness. Every day we are confronted with the knowledge of further destruction of Earth at our hands, the extinction of animal species, of flora and fauna, things that took 5 billion years to evolve, and suddenly we will never see them again because of the interference of mankind. It filled me with dread. My trip to space was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it felt like a funeral.
Yeah, Billy Shatner is like a buzzkill for space. So
maybe we don't want to go to space.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was the captain of the Starship, so that's probably part of that. Part of it may be age as well. When you come to the end of your life, you start thinking about things in different ways. He's a guy that signed up for it, so you have to wonder what all went into his response.
That's fair.
You have to recognize there's going to be different appreciations once you've seen our world from a different perspective. And there are challenges here. You and I have talked about them on our respective shows forever. Lots of things to worry about. And on our new show, we're going to do a lot of that, because there's real ways to talk about things that are not one-sided, political party-based talking points. And that's what I celebrate about the relationship we're going to have on our show, and the ability to do those stories. That's the cool part for me.
That is the cool part. I'm excited to tackle all these different topics, because sometimes you surprise me. I did not know that this was going to be your take on the Blue Origin story, and that's what is going to be fun to bring to the show every day. So tomorrow, 10 a.m. You got to get home, though. We got to make no delays so far as you've been checking your flight out.
I'm now 20 minutes delayed. I'll be back about midnight. So let's cross your fingers for that. So that's going to happen. Was a little worried when you started playing the Titanic music earlier, because that's not necessarily a good omen for a flight that's going to go across the country tonight. So I'm hoping everything goes smooth. I will plan to be there bright and early in the morning. And then we'll craft our first show together. I can guarantee it's going to be interesting and fun, and all the things that you expect from Kristin, certainly, and me when I'm having a good day. So we'll have fun with it.
We're going to definitely have fun with it. We're certainly going to have fun at the end of the show. So we're going to have a bit of a short show because of the Brewers. But at 11:15 tomorrow, we're going to go over the names that could have been the runner-ups to Point Taken. Some of which Grok, the AI on X.com, had some fun with. So I'm excited to get your reaction to what some of these names could have been for our show.
On the flight back tonight, I'm going to come up with some more crafty, clever names. Even more fun.
All right. Well, Steve, I'm so excited to kick this off with you tomorrow. It's been a long time coming, because very few people I like talking to more than you, my friend.
All right. And same here. And for all those passengers on Southwest flight, I think 393, leaving from Las Vegas later this afternoon, keep those damn babies quiet.
All right. Safe travels. Go win some more money, and I'll see you tomorrow, bud.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. All right. We'll come back and say goodbye after this.
You know the voice.
Fly ball, right field, out of here!
You know the iconic calls.
Fly ball, deep right! Back to back!
And you know he's our Brewers 360 guest on Wisconsin's Morning News. Every Wednesday at 8:45, it's Brewers broadcaster Jeff Levering. Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
If you've ever worried about your heart, if you've ever loved someone with heart disease, if you've ever wondered if you're the one at risk, let's remind ourselves that we are not powerless. Because at the Fredert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, we're pushing to outsmart heart and vascular disease by working with you personally to understand your history, assess your risks, and guide you to heart strength. By digging deep with tireless research and offering access to leading-edge clinical trials. And for the most serious conditions, including heart failure, heart valve disease, arrhythmias, and vascular diseases, we provide renowned expertise and the most advanced life-saving procedures you expect from academic medicine. So let's get out in front of heart disease. Let's outsmart it. Let's keep pushing so that every one of us can outrun it and embrace every beautiful day life in Wisconsin has to offer. To learn more about our nationally renowned heart and vascular care, visit fredert.com/heart.
The Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center is here in New Berlin, and it's ready for you and your team. From little leaguers to hardcore players and trainers, this is the place you'll want to be.
You can't beat Burkhart.
My name is Emma. I'm 25 years old, and I work at the Wisconsin Athletic Club. And I just love what I do here because I feel like I helped a lot of people. I hope that other kids can have a goal that they can move out and live independently too. I've had all these opportunities because somebody said yes to me.
Live life to the fullest with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that supports people with disabilities throughout their lives. Connect with a real-time navigator at thinkabilitywi.org today.
Outdoor Living Unlimited continues to build amazing backyard spaces. Imagine grilling on your new deck or entertaining friends on your outdoor kitchen. Adding a screen room is another way to enhance your space. Outdoor Living Unlimited provides ideas, custom designs, and installation of some of the area's finest projects. Stop by our showroom on Saturday, April 26th from 9 to 1 p.m. for our open house. See why Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech deck installation team and visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
I believe it's time for me to fly.
I didn't think that song was going to hit me in the feels like it just did. I probably will never be able to listen to this song ever again without feeling like, oh man, spanning the state. But quickly before we wrap things up, I did want to say this. Someone from the 262 texted in, re-Titanic, and said Jack and Rose were not real. We know that.
Yep.
The necklace was not real. But Titanic first class connections were Bess Allison, who grew up in Milwaukee, and I guess their family house is still here. The Hansons from Racine. Your hometown?
Yeah.
Captain Minahan and his wife and daughter were from Fond du Lac.
How about that?
So there you go. Some more history. And I guess a group from Baraboo used to do major Titanic dinner event at the Ringling Mansion. So
I would go to that. I also watched a YouTube video on like what food they served in the Titanic. It's fascinating.
What was the food?
It's gross, but it was fascinating.
Was it in the third class?
They said all three classes. I think I watched maybe the first class and the third class. Drastically different.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
You saw the movie.
I did.
Very different. All right. Well, weird farewell. But again, for everyone who embraced this show, thank you. Thank you for engaging with us on the talk and text line, for calling in, for playing with the games with us every Friday, for playing along that the wheel was real. I'm going to reveal it now. The wheel was not real. If you didn't know that, that was a little audio illusion for you. But this has been very fun this last year. I'm very excited that I get the opportunity to do this new show with Steve. But to everyone who came along with us this year, thank you so much. Once again, a big thanks to Brian Noonan and everything he did to create this show. We miss you, friend, a lot. And Rhea, thank you so much for all the work you did on this show.
Thank you.
And it's been real, man. And so I don't really know how else to end it besides that. But if you are so inclined and you're around from 10 a.m. to noon tomorrow, check Steve and I out, or subscribe to the podcast if you are not available during those hours. But for now, we'll see ya. Wisconsin's Afternoon News is next.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station from the